In the short-term program, we've got a lot of names for you to try to keep straight. We've got Go, Fuel, Inbound, Farming Quest, Teemo Quest, Laser Quest. Oh, that's not one of them. Harvest Teams, Dream Teams. It's a lot of things to keep straight. In this video, I want to clarify and explain the different types of teams that AIM short-term offers. If you're a mobilizer, I want to help you find the right team for the right short-termer. If you're a receiver, I want you to know your options if you want to start a great discipleship training team in your region. So let's take a look at the discipleship training options that are available within AIM short-term. All of the teams that I want to talk to you about today fall under the umbrella of discipleship training teams. And while these teams will look different in different places, there's certain elements that every discipleship training team will have. These three elements are guided involvement in outreach among UPGs, training in cross-cultural missions work, and personal spiritual development. First, discipleship training teams will always involve guided involvement in outreach among UPGs. This means that team members will always receive mentorship from experienced missionaries working among UPGs. They will be actively involved in local ministry, and they will have some level of language learning, homestays, site stays included in that involvement. Second, all discipleship training teams will include introductory training on cross-cultural missions. While the training will look different in different locations, it will always include at least training on working with cross-cultural teams, tools for outreach work, a biblical understanding of outreach and world missions, language acquisition skills, and a foundational understanding of local religion and worldview. Third, all discipleship training teams also will include an emphasis on personal spiritual growth and development. Spiritual disciplines like prayer and Bible study will be encouraged, and short-termers will have an opportunity to grow in the AIM preferred culture. As long as our discipleship training teams include these three elements, how the teams are run is really a preference of the location where they're run. Each team will be distinct, but it'll have the same elements at the heart of the team. So now that we understand these three elements, why don't we take a look at some of the teams and see how they come together to form the discipleship training options that we currently have. First, let's talk about Go. Go is a 6 to 8 week program. It starts with a 10 to 14 day training. During the training, we focus on things like personal spiritual development, basic understanding of missions, as well as basic skills that people will need in cross-cultural ministry. The training is typically done in one location with the whole team together and is facilitated by a variety of speakers who are practitioners in the things that they're talking about. The other great thing about this training is that we have developed a full curriculum packed full of lesson plans as well as tools and trainings so that anybody who wants to do this type of training and facilitate it will have the tools that they need to be able to pull it off from day one. After the initial training period, the team members are broken up into pairs or small groups and sent out to their ministry locations. In these locations, they're mentored by veteran missionaries. They also have an opportunity to put those skills into practice that they learned during training while still continuing their personal spiritual growth and development. After the team members have finished their guided involvement in cross-cultural ministry on site, they come back together for a 4-day debrief where they're able to process through the time that they had, the learning that they did, as well as looking at the next steps for them as they continue on their journey of ministry. So where does Go work best? Typically, Go works best in a place where you have a training location that you can bring a large group into and conduct a 2-week to 10-day training. You also are going to need a lot of different ministry locations for the team to spread out and go to. Now again, the nice thing is that these will be small groups going to the various ministry locations, and so they don't need as much capacity to be able to host team members in the ministry locations. Another important consideration is who can participate in Go. And the answer to that is pretty much anybody. We've had tremendous opportunities to have Africans as well as non-Africans participate in the Go program and go on to make long-term commitments afterwards. Next, let's talk about Fuel. Fuel is another 6 to 8 week program. If I could use one word to sum up the Fuel program, it would be together. In the Fuel program, the training, the outreach, the ministry, the personal spiritual development, all come together in one location with one group of people working, growing, living, eating, ministering together. One of the distinctives of Fuel is its emphasis on partnering African and non-African team members together. Over the course of the Fuel program, there's an emphasis on personal spiritual development as well as foundational mission skills. Team members also participate in a study of the book of Acts. This has been a really powerful and important component of the Fuel curriculum. So where does Fuel work best? It typically works best in a location that can accommodate a large group for several weeks that's situated in the middle of a UPG. It can be very simple surroundings, and typically it has been, but you'll need to make sure that there's also missionaries on site that can continue the training and investing in the team while they're on site, as well as helping them to be involved in outreach opportunities among the local UPG. And who can do Fuel? Well, right now, most of our Fuel programs are geared towards young single men, both African and non-African. We look forward to, in the future, being able to offer this program for women as well. But for now, the focus is on young single men. So what's the difference between Go and Fuel? I get this question a lot, and the first thing I like to focus on is the similarities between the two programs. They both emphasize outreach work among UPGs and experiencing what that looks like. They also both offer solid training in missions foundations as well as practical mission skills. The main difference between the two programs is how the training operates. For Go, the training is at the beginning, and then those lessons impact their time on the field. Whereas with Fuel, the training happens throughout the participants' time on the field. The other difference is that with Go, you're able to do the training in one location, and then the team members scatter to several different ministry locations. Whereas with Fuel, all of the ministry and training happen in the same location. For a region that's considering starting a Go or Fuel program, your main consideration will be where you want to hold the training and where you can do the outreach work. Go and Fuel aren't the only discipleship training options that we have within AIM. The next team to talk about is Inbound. Inbound is one of our longest teams, and it lasts a year. Inbound is an onboarding program designed to train new missionaries, both long-term and short-term, who have the intention to continue on in full-time cross-cultural outreach work. The current Inbound program is based in Kampala. Participants will live in this urban center among UPGs, but they'll also have opportunities to travel out from Kampala to go to more rural outreach locations. Over the course of the Inbound program, team members will be mentored by team leaders who will be focused on the growth and development of the team members and leading them through the AIM Inbound curriculum. Inbound is open for singles, married couples, and families with small children. This program really serves as a bridge for somebody who's just beginning a missions career to give them the tools as well as the direction that they need to take the next step into a long-term commitment. Another fantastic discipleship training option we have is Teemo Quest. Teemo Quest is a 4-week program. On Teemo Quest, team members are integrated into the life of a Teemo team. Basically, a Teemo Quest is like a turbo Teemo team. The team members will participate in team life. They'll be mentored one-on-one. They'll be involved in language acquisition. They'll read books, do book reports, and participate in team days. Teemo Quest is an awesome way to get experience on the field and learn and grow. In order for us to have more Teemo Quest teams, we need more Teemo teams. So we're looking forward as more Teemo teams are developed in the future. One of our specialized team options is Farming Quest. Now, I'll give you a minute to try to figure out what Farming Quest focuses on. That's right, farming. Farming Quest is a 3-week short-term team hosted at Growing Nations in Lesotho, and it focuses on sustainable conservation agriculture, or farming God's way. At the same time, it trains its participants in tools for cross-cultural outreach and personal spiritual development. Farming Quest helps to equip participants with the skills that they need to go into an unreached location to have tools that can open the door for ministry among a UPG. Next are Dream Teams. Dream Teams are our shortest teams by far, lasting only 2 weeks. However, they incorporate all the key elements of a discipleship training team. A Dream Team focuses on Diaspora people living in major urban centers. Every Dream Team starts with 2 days of skills training and outreach, and then gives participants the opportunity to put those skills into practice. Every Dream Team partners with a local ministry that's doing outreach work to Diaspora people as well as refugees. We also have a variety of internships with our Diaspora region. If somebody is keenly interested on Diaspora work, one of our Diaspora internships or apprenticeships might be the right option for them. We operate several of these internships through partnerships with other like-minded organizations. Most of these Diaspora internships last between 6 months to a year. We're always adding new ones to the list, so it's best to check with Diaspora region to find out which teams are being run at which time. Finally, we have Harvest Teams. Harvest Teams are 2-month teams that focus on African mobilization, giving Africans the tools and experience that they need to get a start working among UPGs. The purpose of Harvest Teams is to inspire Africans while at the same time influencing the African church to take up their role in reaching unreached African people groups. All Harvest Teams will have an African leader. They'll live in very basic situations among UPGs. They'll work on cross-cultural outreach, personal spiritual development, language acquisition, as well as learning to live and work together as a team. We're so excited to see the growth and development of these Harvest Teams and look forward to many more of them in the future. So there you have it. That's an overview of the discipleship training teams that we have right now. But there's so much more room for additional discipleship training teams within AIM. Whenever we create a new discipleship training team or expand any of our existing teams, we'll always include our same 3 basic elements: guided involvement in outreach work among UPGs, training in cross-cultural missions work, as well as personal spiritual development. So what does this mean for you? Well, if you're a mobilizer, keep mobilizing. I would love to see each and every one of these teams filled with individuals who are actively investigating what it looks like to be a part of full-time cross-cultural missions for a lifetime. If you're a receiver, there's a couple things that you can do. First of all, if you already have discipleship training programs happening in your region, keep them going. Continue to resource them with personnel as well as information to help the team continue to grow and develop. You can also work to develop additional discipleship training programs in your region. We have tremendous resources as well as experience in setting these teams up, so we can work together to develop additional teams that will be able to help mobilize and engage people who are interested in future full-time cross-cultural service. And finally, regardless of who you are, if you have additional questions about discipleship training teams within AIM, feel free to reach out to me. Let's dream together about what God can do with additional discipleship training teams. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it helped you better understand discipleship training programs and will serve as a resource to you in the future, no matter what role you have within AIM. For more information on many of these teams, as well as links to additional videos focused on each of the teams, check out the information below. Don't forget to come back to this channel for additional training and information about the AIM short-term program and how it can be used to continue to reach unreached African people groups.